to the next item that we are picking up. This one has more of a business impact than an accounting impact. And I'm conscious of time, so I will very quickly talk about the key business impacts of this proposed change. Friends, as many of us would be aware that the UK FCA has stated that at the end of 2021, banks will no longer be forced to publish the LIBOR rate. LIBOR, to recall, is a London interbank offer rate. The way the LIBOR rate that is derived at is worked out is that at noon UK time, select large financial institutions like banks give out a term structure of interest rates. So they tell, if I have to lend money to another bank for a period of 1 month, the interest rate that I would charge is X. So they give this for a wide range of tenors. They give it for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year. All the 17 or 18 odd banks that are there that are constituents of this group publish their rates. The UK FCA then says, let's take out the top and the bottom extremes and give the central value. So the LIBOR rate that we are so used to seeing is a polled rate, is a rate that comes about a poll. A lot of us are familiar with how that polling process was misused by certain banks, which therefore prompted the regulators to think about having a different kind of a rate. And they said, let's not have a LIBOR in place anymore. No more interbank offer rates. Let us now have a risk-free rate, which, for example, in some jurisdictions could be a rate like a SOFR, where effectively it says, if one had to lend money on an overnight basis, on a secured basis, in a risk-free manner, what would have been the rate? So a big change is a LIBOR was a forward-looking term structure rate, which gave you interest rates for different terms. The rate that we will now see is a risk-free rate for placing money overnight. Big difference, therefore, commercially, because today, if I have to borrow a 3-year ECB loan at LIBOR plus 300 basis points, that LIBOR incorporates an element of interbank risk. Come 2021, my pricing of loans will be based on a risk-free rate, let's call it RFR. That RFR is only an overnight rate. So to get from LIBOR plus 300 to SOFR plus a spread, I would need to walk from a risk-free rate, from a rate which factors in interbank risk, to a risk-free rate, and then add a spread to say that this is an overnight rate to move to a forward-looking rate or create a term structure. So commercially, it is a big change. One will, to just give you context, there are about $350 trillion of contracts that are dependent on LIBOR alone, which will undergo a change. Now, commercially, one will have to work out what that spread is. Both the counterparties will have to agree to that change. So that's the business part of the change. From an accounting standpoint, as you would have guessed, very quickly, 2 key accounting impacts. One is the impact on hedge accounting, and the other one is the impact on modification of loans accounting. Why would hedge accounting be impacted? Simple answer to that is that hedge accounting would get impacted because the hedged item was a LIBOR plus 300 basis point loan. If the hedged item does not exist anymore, a hedging relationship cannot exist anymore. So that's the first impact. Second impact is if one commercially renegotiates a LIBOR plus 300 basis point loan into a risk-free rate plus 400 basis point loans, how does one apply the guidance on modification of cash flows? Because the cash flows will now get modified. Ind AS 109 has guidance on modification accounting. So IFRS 9 has modified, IASB has modified IFRS 9 in 2 phases to, one, help companies transition to the new benchmark rates framework, and more importantly, on a go-forward basis, it will also provide certain practical expedients. So the modification of loans, which is a big operational hassle, does not work as long as there is economic equivalence of the rates. So as we said, an IBOR is a term structure of forward-looking rate which includes credit risk of the bank. What we will move to is a risk-free overnight rate with a fixed spread. So the guidance in the standard is, as long as commercially in present value terms these two are met, one should be able to say that the loans are not modified in an accounting standpoint. For us in India, what does it mean and how would we get impacted? Some of the commonly seen rates that we see in India are rates around the risk-free rates from FIBIL. We have the Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate, we have the MCLR, and we have MIFOR. Now MIFOR is a Mumbai Interbank Forward Offer Rate which uses the LIBOR plus the USD INR forward premium. So this MIFOR rate is one which will directly get impacted. And where does LIBOR feature from a transaction standpoint is a LIBOR or an interbank offer rate features in foreign currency borrowing and lending arrangements. It features in ECBs that we have taken, deposits that we've placed, impacts hedge accounting, and impacts valuation of derivatives. So very massive impact for financial institutions for sure, but equally for a corporate which is a borrower and has entered into hedging relationships. In a nutshell, there are four things or four kinds of challenges that this kind of transition will impact. The first is the business impact, which deals with the negotiation of the terms, which deals with what should be the spread in the arrangement. The second one is for professionals like us, which is the finance and the risk part. How do we ensure our hedging policies are updated? How do we ensure that, one, we have a repository of everything that is impacted in the first place? The third one is around the governance part, which is the IT and the controls, the IFC environment, identification of impacted transactions. Once you've impacted, how do you ensure that they are appropriately implemented? If you need to make a change to an IT system, which a financial institution may need to make, are they geared up to make those changes? Finally, don't forget the legal and the compliance implications. There could be changes in counterparty contracts, arrangements. There could be changes to master agreements like ISDA. So it's something, once again, which goes beyond accounting. It impacts all the facets of the organization. A big change, and therefore we thought we wanted to spend these 10 odd minutes on the LIBOR transition, not so much from an accounting standpoint, but more from a commercial and a business standpoint. So a change which will come about maybe in a year's time, but it will have a massive impact on financial markets and the instruments used in those markets. The accounting change, of course, could be significant, but that is most significant for banks and financial institutions. So thank you very much for your time. I'll keep the floor open for questions if there are any. There are a couple of questions. Yes, June 21 is what we were talking of. The other question is, if a discount is given till June 2021, then can it be taken as a practical expedient? Yes, it should have been originally due up till June 2021. I think that is the key point. You may actually make the payments even after June 2021. That does not matter. What is important is the benefit should pertain to cash flows which were due up to 2021. That is all that we had to cover. We will be back in November. We will talk about Caro, another important change. If there is any other topic you would like us to cover, please feel absolutely free. We are here to be the knowledge sharing platform. We would love to hear from you. We would love to hear your feedback. These are our coordinates if you would like to reach out to us. Thank you very much for your participation. Please stay safe. Hope you found this session useful. If there are any questions, which we have not yet been able to answer, please do feel free to write back to us.